Hey, yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back. A lot of people ask me, they ask me, how I got in. Because people talk about it, and they're like, well, I'm struggling, and then after a lot of hard work and perseverance, and then, boom, I got my big break. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Give me the details. I love transparency. So I try to be transparent. I try to tell you everything I did. It's annoying. I hate it when people just kind of get there. It's like, that's shady. I want to know the real. And by the way, a lot of this stuff is in my first and only book that I wrote, and it's called Wannabe, A Hollywood Experiment. Right here. I put a link in the description to it right here. I think I sold about 12 copies. But a lot of these stories, some of them are in there and some of them aren't, but there's a lot of other stories. If you like that, you'll love this. And eventually we're going to have merch. Aren't we, Kyle? I think we are. A lot of people talk to me how early breaks happen, and today I want to tell you about them. This is how I got cast on one of my first TV guest spots. It was 1994, and I was really struggling, living in my friend's guest garage. He was in grad school part of college, and he was hanging with his professor. But I think that's legal when you're in grad school. She loved comedy, so she let me live in her guest garage. And at that time, I was really struggling. I was dead broke, but I made just enough to, I think it was $250 a month, which was amazing. Kept all my expenses down so low that I could just kind of pursue the dream. And I was, living off protein shakes and bananas. I had a telephone, answering machine. I got a desk, a chair, a futon, milk crates, a couple of books, shower, shampoo, and that was pretty much it. I had the breakdowns, and I was trying to get an agent, and I was trying to get jobs. And I was also telemarketing. I went to this telemarketing office. I had to get there at 6 a.m. It was in Hollywood. It was right by a strip club, which is very famous, called the Seventh Veil. Raising hell at the Seventh Veil. You know it. So basically, anyone who could pick up a telephone worked in this fucking telemarketing room. And the fucking guy who ran it, I'll never forget his name, Ernie, fucking rockabilly dude. And he ran that fucking room like a ship. All right, fuckos, let's go. Start fucking dialing, all this shit, right? So here was the hustle. So we would call and we would say, hey, this is Phil down here. Just calling from so-and-so copy service. I just need the number on your copy machine. We would get that number, give the number to one of the salesmen, and the salesman would then upsell them a better cartridge deal for their toner for the copy machine. So we had to get the number. So we were telemarketers. We were scum. Every number I got, I would get 75 cents. So if I was calling Brooklyn, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? You got a fucking copy in there? Yeah, I have fucking whatever. I call Texas. I'd be, hey, how you doing there? I'm calling down there from the bait and tackle shop. Something about your photocopier. They said they need this number. I was always putting on voices. It was like acting class every day. I would probably get at least 100 numbers a day, which is fucking good. You were dialing for dollars for 6 to 1. Maybe make $70 a day. I was making a couple $100 a week. When you're paying $300 in rent, you can do that. And so I had to figure out how to break in. And at the time, remember they made Saturday morning cartoons? They made Saturday morning cartoons, but then they started doing live action shows on Saturday for those kids so they could keep those kids after the cartoons. And there was a show that was on Saturday. It became a huge hit, and it was called Saved by the Bell. And it started spawning these other shows, Running the Halls, Hang Time. But there was a sister show that they had that was a show after Saved by the Bell. They did a spinoff called California Dreams. And California Dreams is other kids that weren't at Bayside. I, at the time, was doing stand-up. I was doing telemarketing, starting to make a name for myself, but I wasn't, making any money. And at that time, you really needed something called tape. First of all, you have to get tape on yourself. So how do you get tape on yourself? Well, if no one gives you a job, what do? So you go to a stand-up comedy club, try to get a guest spot. You film your tape at your open mic. Hopefully somebody sees that and somebody allows you to get a better guest spot at a premier club like the Improv. I had gotten that, and got the premier spot at the Improv. Got the tape, had a good set. It was at the Ice House, actually. Ice House Annex. And I got a really good tape. And then that tape I would put in my package with my resume, my headshot, and that tape. And then I would get it out to casting people. That was the only tape I had. I had no acting job. So you needed acting tape on something like on TV. So then people go, oh, it's all about being blessed up, which I hate. So I was doing these coffee houses. That was huge before Starbucks. And it was just like these late nights at coffee house. They would go all night. It was all hipsters. It was the first time I ever had like a fucking cinnamon latte or whatever. It was like early to mid 90s. And so doing coffee houses and I'm getting spots. I'm starting to get known. I was one of the youngest, if not the youngest person on the circuit. Different now, but I was like 22 and there wasn't a lot of people on the circuit that age. I'm going and I'm doing these jobs and I do a gig. I think I did a gig at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa. I think I got a guest spot, which was very hard. It's still hard for me now to get that. That's its own world down there. So there was a writer. There was like a writer from the it was like the Beach Times, and I have this. And they wanted to do a story on upcoming comedians. The coffee house circuit was starting to bubble underground. This person's like, I'm doing a story about, emerging, talent. And I did like 3 minutes at the Comedy Hermosa and I kind of tanked, but I think I had like 2 good laughs. And the person's like, I want to do this story about you. So long story short, this like local beach paper did a story about me and we did a photo shoot in a day and I was like hamming it up, however. They put me on the cover. I was just a fluke. Like again, one of these divine interventions. These are like the breaks. When people ask you about break, like these is like there's a lot of little, this was a great break. And it said the elf who would be king, because I kind of look like an elf. And so they did this fucking great article about me. It was like my first real piece of press. Since I was really good at telemarketing, I was looked one day and I was looked at the toner and I'm like, what the fuck are we selling here? And I look and we're selling toner. We're selling ink for a copy machine. And I was getting good at it. So then I read this book, Think and Grow Rich. It basically said, treat yourself like a product. And so this book really empowered me and I started calling casting people. I didn't have representation at the time. I talk like this. And I did a voice where basically I became my own agent. And I basically made up a character by the name of Marty Power. Why? Because power is powerful. Marty sounded like just a guy you would know. Oh, Marty, call Marty. And Power rhymed with Bauer. And there was a guy named Marvin Bauer who had a company called Bauer Benedict, who was very popular at the time. And then they eventually became a company called UTA. And I started calling all of these different agencies. Long, short, I started getting auditions. One day, I get an audition. I see out the breakdowns. I call his morning and go, I got a kid here. He's perfect. He can go in there. It was like surfer number 3. This kid, he's back. He practically lives on a surfboard. What are you doing, Robin? How you doing? My name's Marty. He's like, who are you calling from? I'm like, Marty. I'm calling over here from Agora Hills. Casting director of California Dreams sees me. It's literally surfer number 3. I had long hair. This is Pearl Jam. This is Nirvana. This is all that time. I go in and I had to like hiccup, right? And I was like, because I can't say cow, bunga.
Gee, dudes, I want my money back.
Is something the matter?
Yeah, I took one sip, and now I can't surf, because I can't say cow, bunga.
Spicoli, but then if Spicoli was hitting the head with a shovel, it was like from Jack from Speed, but then the shovel. So like for a while, I was going after characters like that. And that was like a mid-90s thing where you could see me do this shit. And it was just like, yeah, really? I was like really dumb. I played these dumb characters. So I go in and I meet this very, very big casting director. I owe her a lot. She's one of these other people that gave me a break. Her name is Robin Lippin. And I go in and I do the whole audition. And she's like, that was really good. She was like really sweet. She like looks at it. She's like, what's your name again? She's like, yeah, that was good. Like, you need to see it again, or do you need any other way? And she's like, no, it's great. She's like, thank you. I turn around, and when you hear all these workshops, you take these things and you hear the stories, and always be ready to go and go in and do your best work and don't be annoying and do what they want and leave, right? And I had done that, but I was like, I need to fucking eat, okay? Like, I need a fucking break. I need tape, okay? I'm like gonna be 24 years old. I fucking living in a garage. So she's like, great, thank you. And I turn around and it wasn't that busy of a Friday. And I just turn around and I just say, hey, look, I'm sorry, but you don't know me. and I know who you are, but look, you're going to see 5 other guys, and it's literally 2 lines. I go, I can do this part of my sleep. I'm good. And I know this may sound like forward or whatever, but here, I only have 3 copies of this, and I want you to have one. This is me. I'm on the cover of this newspaper. It's Hermosa Beach Times, and people think I'm going to be something. And she looks at it and says, okay, that's you? I said, yeah. I said, look, you can save yourself a lot of trouble. You can see a bunch of people. This isn't going to make or break your life, but it's really going to impact mine. I go, I would love to do this if I can. And she goes, okay, thank you. Thank you, Jamie. And I walked out, and I thought, well, that's something they don't want you to do. Like, I borderline begged, but I was also like strong. I'm like, come on, man. Fucking 2 lines. Don't waste your day. And I go home. Fuck it. I might just be considered difficult. I don't know. I'm in my garage. I'm doing shit or whatever. I'm stapling. Like 5:30 on the afternoon. She's like, hi, Jamie. This is Robin Lippin. Can you call me back, please? She knew that she was calling me, even though I was calling as my agent, but I left her my personal number to avoid the manager lie. And I called, and she goes, so can you be here Monday? And I was like, yes. I called her back, and she's like, can you bring your own wardrobe? It's like $15 extra. And I'm like, yes. And she goes, all right, you got the job. And I was like, yeah, you have no fucking idea. I'm telling you this story in a garage 26 years later. She called me directly, and she was like, I like your story. She said, I really like this story in the paper. You got the job. It was awesome because it was a turning point for me where I was just like, you got to fucking tell people what you want. You got to let them know. There was something in me that she knew that I could do it. I convinced her somehow, whether it was telemarketing, the audition, the paper, all the sets I did at coffee houses. I have no idea. Something won her over that day, and I got it. And that job led to another guest spot. And then another show who worked with that show saw me and brought me in and got another job. And then I got a straight offer for Ellen's show when she was on ABC, just from that casting director, from another casting director. So it fucking took me into so many levels. Sometimes you just got to put your fucking dick on the line. You got to fucking kill or be killed. And then that moment, it worked. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching again. Please, if you do, please lightly massage that subscribe button and give us a little something on the alerts. If you like me, let me be alerted that I'm here. Thanks again for watching.